one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, thank you for this beautiful day. Keep everyone in Symmes Township in our community in your prayers and keep our community safe. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Roll call. Ms. Lees? Aye. Mr. Beck?
Here.
Mr. Bryant?
Here.
I move approval of, do I need to do that for work section? No? Okay, let's move into old business. We don't have any, so new business. Let's do field usage fees. Okay, we've talked about for some time now that, I think we're getting a lot of feedback. I'll push mine out here. All right, we've talked on different occasions about field usage fees and what our costs are to maintain all of the field spaces. And we've also talked about start to pass those expenses on to the sports teams that use our fields. Right now they use them for free. So I put together a list of everything that I could think of that we pay for, and I broke it down: soccer, baseball, and lacrosse. The total cost for the entire season for all fields is around $64,000 a year that we spend. So we could do it many ways. I mean, we could either break it down by discipline, which it could get very costly for baseball because that's what we spend most of the money on. Or if we just do it as an entire cost, redivided amongst all players, it's around $17 a player.
Can I make one point about that? I think for like the select local teams, I think the $17 is like no big deal, but when it comes to like say soccer, or I don't know if we probably have to say baseball too, don't we? I mean.
Well, we have LYSO, Loveland Youth.
So Loveland Youth, they're not a select team?
Mm-mm.
I feel like this is funny. I'm sorry. I think we should maybe reduce their fees a little bit and maybe up it to $18 for the,
Still select.
yeah, because I feel like the say teams, you know, I'm not saying necessarily can't afford it like the select teams, but I think the parents are more invested when you go to select versus say.
Sure, you're in a rec league versus a competitive,
Yeah.
more competitive.
And I don't think if you raise like a select club up to $20, I mean, or $18 or $19, I don't think they would bat an eye at it. At least when I was a select mom, I understood field usage came along with what I was paying for it with trainers.
Okay.
So that's my opinion on that. I mean, what do you guys feel?
Do we know what percentage that would be of the players?
It's mostly rec that use the fields. I mean, I think Alex's teams are the only ones that are.
No, Loveland Storm.
Oh,
They're a whole select. They're part of. They're included in say soccer,
okay.
but they're called Loveland Storm.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's what, is it Bruce? That's what he represents.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's definitely a smaller percentage of select versus rec.
Okay. I'm open to that.
I know we were getting some feedback from Loveland Youth Baseball when we talked to them. He's like, I'm sure they wouldn't mind a small increase, but.
All right, he said $10 was doable.
Yeah, but you're thinking 20. Well, you're
Well, I
thinking
said
18.
17 if you rounded it out, but if you did 10 and 20, like 10 for the recs and 20 for the select, you could do something like that.
Yeah. Considering those baseball fields are so nice in Homewood Rec. They're really nice. Yeah.
Well, these numbers are based on our costs for 2019 or 2020. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, these were the bills that we paid this year.
Okay, and
Yeah.
the number of players in each of these different disciplines and so on is based on what has been.
Right, because
And if
this
the-
year was kind of
And if the
skewed.
price were to go up, do we think that we would still have the same number?
Players.
Of players?
Yeah.
Well, it depends.
Mhm.
Depends on where the world goes
Yeah.
next spring.
And
Well,
this is
I-
what, go
I
ahead.
don't mind treating it like lighting districts, where you amass how much it costs you to run 1 year and you get the next year to pay for it, kind of thing. It says that we're always paying in advance. Okay, so it doesn't cost anybody for 2020, but we're teeing it up for what it would cost for 2021. The other issue that I have here is in the baseball area of lighting, you got $100 now.
Yeah, that one's estimated because we really don't know what the cost is. We turned it on in June and then they only used it like 3 nights in June. But this month they plan on using it 3 nights a week for, it's 4 weeks at a time.
I think it would be incumbent upon us to calculate how many kilowatt we're using when they're on, and then estimate how long it takes for a game and come up with the cost per game that we assess whoever the league is playing.
Okay.
Okay, I don't like, I mean, in these numbers that you rolled up, it's $17 or $42 per kid, per participant, if you will. Depending on how much lighting is used next year, you know, it could be a lot different. Or it may not be, I don't know.
Right.
But we should know what the wattage is for those lights all turned on. We can go out to Bill and see how much it costs per kilowatt hour and so on.
And we did that. I think Bill was going to put it into a spreadsheet for me.
Yeah, well, it's more than a generation charge, it's a distribution charge and everything, so
Right.
let's don't get caught up in that. So,
And also, this is the first time that we've ever charged. So, you know, it might take some twerking here and there.
I look at something else too.
I'm thinking of myself.
A fair amount of this is in mowing, and whether it's used or not, we're mowing it.
Right.
I mean, I drive past Hopewell Park, which is not being used, and we're mowing it every week, and that's a lot of area to be mowed.
Well, I talked to Bill about this. If you would go to the great parks, a lot of their areas are left natural. So they mow in maybe 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet, whatever you decide. And then the rest of it is called a natural area, and the grass grows higher. So I don't know how much, like at Hopewell, the center grass is used. I mean, do you ever see anybody playing in the center, you know, when you're walking around the loop, that back area?
Well, the baseball field especially, we let it grow, the infield's grown to grass. And when I was over there walking the dog and so on, they're mowing the whole area, even across from the walking trail towards the neighbor in the hill. Okay, there's a lot of area being mowed.
Well, we talked about that with Bill. We talked about leaving, like in the parks, you don't have to mow every blade of grass.
But-
You leave what's called the natural area, the natural growth.
But that area
Pictures.
that we're spending a lot of money on mowing for, we have no participated sports over there to pay that bill. So I personally think the township should subsidize all sports to some extent, agreed upon between the trustees and so on. And they shouldn't have to fit the whole bill.
Well, this isn't the whole bill. This is just a percentage of the athletic field only.
Okay.
Well,
I asked Bill, I'm like, how much of the field at Home of the Brave take up Home of the Brave Park? And that's how we base our mowing. I did it as a percentage.
Yeah.
So this is like a picture of the great parks. So they mow a certain amount and then they leave this natural. So that's what I was talking about. Like we probably could cut.
How do you think that's gonna go over with Hopewell?
Well,
Well, I don't, because
I don't think you could do the middle, but maybe some of the perimeter, maybe some of Symmes Park.
Well, I think a lot of the reason why they leave it natural is because it's for nature. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's good for the birds, it's good for the world, it's good for a lot of different things. It's just not because we don't want to do it, it's just, it's natural.
Right.
And it doesn't look bad. I think it looks kind of fun.
Well, we still got some time here to work on working this out, correct? I mean, you'd like some direction tonight if possible, but
Well, the thing is we need to let them know now if we're gonna start charging them in the
Right.
spring. That's why I mean, I was perfectly fine. What if we just start with $10?
I was fine with it.
And just go from there for everybody and just do a flat rate of $10, even though it's more like 17. Let's just do $10 and see where that gets us for next year.
well, since the lighting is specific to the baseball, I would like to see baseball pay for that.
Okay.
In addition, out of their league funds or whatever. And I also would like to know, because of personal experience, that I'd like to know that each of the teams in the leagues using the lights have an equal opportunity to participate under the lights. I saw some favoritism years ago when I was a coach and so on, where people who controlled it had their teams playing under the lights and not all the teams get to play. So I don't think that's an issue,
Okay.
but I do like that caveat.
Okay.
Well, $100.
Well, we don't know what we said.
Yeah, it's an estimation because they only played 3 games in June and then they're playing 3 nights a
We
week
got-
in September into October, but I'm not sure how many weeks.
We got 6 stanchions up. We ought to know how many lights are on each one, times what the wattage is for each bulb and so on. Then you know
Yeah.
what the max is gonna be, and then you go look at what your, and it's summertime, so it'd be summertime. Well, I don't know if it makes any difference with
The
our
rates
aggregation
go up
program.
like that.
Well, with our aggregation, I think we're on a flat fee.
It still fluctuates.
Yeah, okay.
It's like every 3 months it goes up or goes down.
Is
Depending on
that
the
because
season.
it's like on street lighting? I think we need to look into how we're being billed for that too. And talk with our electric provider, find out what we can do. Get a special rate or something else.
It's already included in the aggregation, so.
Okay, then it shouldn't be going up and down because we're on a fixed rate.
Well, but it fluctuates based on the rider, I think.
Okay, that's the due portion,
Yes.
not the portion that we are under aggregation.
No, it's just, and it's not very much. It just goes up a couple of dollars or goes down a couple of dollars,
Okay.
depending on where it is.
I can't get upset about a couple of dollars. But if it fluctuated wildly, I'd like to know why.
No, it's not wildly.
So
I'm okay with $10 to start with and see what we do and then maybe reassess it next year.
you're talking about all sports across the board,
Mhm.
is that right?
Right, so everybody who would use our fee has a $10 fee tacked on.
Yeah,
How much would that bring in? We got
so
six.
we don't know how many.
Well, we don't know
players.
We know,
because,
based on number of participants this year,
right, that's why I said there are,
it would be $7,000 or something? How many?
No, 39,000.
there's 3,900 users that I counted up from last year that submitted rosters.
So that's
So-
less than $4,000 out of 64,000. So we're still gonna be paying 60,000.
No,
4 times.
64 for the total, so we would be collecting approximately 40.
so we're paying 20, basically.
Or do we want to make the across the assessment $12?
I'm okay with $12. I think that's fair too.
$2,
I like,
$3,000.
if we're gonna keep everything under 50.
That's 39,000.
That brings in
I'm wrong, that's 39,000, that's half.
That brings in about 47.
Yeah.
If you go to 12.
I was off by a decimal.
Do you know how much Loveland charges?
Loveland charges the difference in their budget every year. So if it costs them $50,000 to maintain the field, and then this year they might only have 20 to spend on it, they'll charge the
30.
difference.
30,000.
I'm just making those numbers up because I don't really know what the numbers are, but I just know that Dave Kennedy told me that whatever he has left over is what he assigns to maintenance. And then whatever the difference is, they charge it off to the baseball league and the football league and whoever else.
Okay. I think these things are humming a lot. Did you notice that? Anybody? The speakers are humming. Is there a way that we can turn down the hum?
I don't know how to do it. I guess we'll have to ask
Wait,
ICS, yeah, when you
Okay.
come out.
All right.
Well, that's a great feedback we got, right?
Yeah.
So everybody you can hear what you say.
Well, that's the thing, that's why these are made, because this is a speaker itself, it's pushing the sound back out at you so you can hear it.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we do an even $12 per player. And then for baseball specific, the number of players would pay an additional lighting fee.
Or we could just charge it to the league itself, to LYSO, and then they can pay it.
Okay.
Well, they
It's
gotta
kinda
get
So
the money
they
from.
need to understand they need to collect a little bit more.
Right.
Eat it the first year, then figure it out.
Well, we ought to give them some guidance there and what it costs per hour to run the lights or something, which we can work on.
Okay.
I'll help if necessary, but I think you're better off of keeping me out of it.
Okay.
I want to talk about something else that's in your notes here.
Okay.
You're talking about lacrosse, and you're talking about dealing with drainage at some point at Royal Field.
Yep.
And you'd like for us to develop a new field at the Meadow and have lacrosse use a new field for games in the Meadow for practice. What about this box lacrosse thing? Is that going to be moved?
That's what I would like them to do, is to move that box off Union Cemetery so that you don't see it.
Where would you move it to?
I would like them just to get rid of it, period.
Well, driving by it quite a bit, I think it would at least ought to be
Clean.
power washed. And if they're going to move it, there's an opportunity to do that, clean it up, wherever we move it to. I mean, if you moved it from Union Cemetery and the Royal Fields and you moved it to the Meadow or something else, and you got Lebanon traffic seeing it.
Yep.
So
Do we know how
don't we
much,
have somewhere else we can put that thing that's not as obvious?
do we know how much is used?
I think if you talk to the lacrosse players, the box lacrosse is used quite a bit. We don't always see it. Sometimes it's late afternoon, early evening and things like
It's usually
that.
on Sunday nights.
And I know that one of my issues was I'd like to see it equally used throughout the township, which means offered up to Sycamore players and Indian Hill players and so on too.
I think it is.
No, I think now Sycamore has their own on their property.
They do.
Yes.
Well, because I know, because Remy played lacrosse, in the summer, they open it up to anybody to form a team that wanted. It
Yeah,
didn't
okay.
have to be Loveland or specific, it could be anybody, it could be
I'm
somebody
not-
coming from Kentucky.
I'm not talking about that anymore because I'm beyond that. I think I just like for everything that the taxpayers of Symmes Township use ought to be available. You know?
Sure.
So that's all. And as long as I think that there's an intent, I'm happy with it. I don't know that there's been an exclusion.
So should we meet with lacrosse?
Probably, you can kind of figure it out.
That's a separate subject, but it's still in your packet here.
Yeah, Bill is looking into getting a cost, like what it would cost us to, because we've got a big dirt pile there, and just I mean, it costs, we'd have to do some.
You're talking about the
grading.
Meadow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so push the meadow out. You know where the portable restroom is right there or whatever? Push it back and to create one big, large playing field.
Okay.
And then use the meadow for practice.
But you do know that there's special drainage system under a lot of that area.
Right, under the meadow itself.
Yes, yes.
Right, this new field would not be included in that, it would be an extension of that, so there would be actually two fields there. And then we could take and repurpose the Royal Field property for smaller soccer fields. so we can get more soccer, because we seem to have a higher demand for soccer than we do for anything else.
Is the church property still being used
Yes.
for soccer?
Only soccer?
Okay. But they're outside of our jurisdiction now because
Yes.
we pushed them that way.
Yes, they've always been.
Well, I thought we, once upon a time, were intermediaries and
Where
got the
we cut
fields.
the grass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the fields between the two softball fields or whatever at Home of the Brave, going in next to the,
It's 3, 4, and 5.
yes, well, however you number them, yes. There's
Yes.
two softball fields and then there's soccer fields between.
Soccer in the middle, and then there's baseball, like, it could go either way, baseball or soccer on the ends.
Okay, so there's only 3 fields here?
Yep.
Not 5. Okay. Are those being used?
For soccer,
Not for baseball?
not for baseball.
Not for softball?
You know, softball's across the street at Symmes.
You only had 1 field?
Yep.
Okay. We just drug those fields, cleaned them up because there's grass growing in the infield. If you're using it for soccer, mostly, maybe there's your soccer field. Or you still need more beyond those 3.
Oh, yeah, there's still land.
And what's going on the other side of in the Masonic Lodge? How many fields do we have there?
So we've got one big field, which is field 1, and that usually in the spring lacrosse uses it.
Okay.
And then in the fall, we give it back to soccer.
That's bigger than 1 soccer field though, isn't it?
Right, it's 2 soccer fields actually.
Okay,
Probably 99 soccer fields.
okay. All right. I think you're gonna have to lay something out on paper as to potential uses of the different areas that we have and how we can make it work. And
Okay.
try and integrate this box lacrosse to it. Holding in mind that you really need to talk to
Yeah.
the lacrosse teams.
If we can't, if they want to keep it, can we it's like in the middle, can we like move it to the end?
Yeah, move it further back from the road
So it's like
or something
right
else.
back.
But you're saying we have drainage
And a
issues.
soccer field.
I think that the reason where it is because we have major drainage issues on that piece of property because it's so flat. And it rains and then it just holds water and what it does is it drains down Union Cemetery, down to the park, and then it comes back and then it comes back behind the fields, back where the water park is. And then all drains into the pond. So it kind of does this big loop. So it ends up back in the same place, pretty much.
And so we can't have that fixed?
We would have to sink some money into it.
Yeah, because I guess if we want to make that usable for any fields, we have to send some.
So we have 2 issues. One is current usage and cost. And we have a plan for that. And then we have something that's some kind of a master plan as to how many fields we need and where we can fit them in and so on. That requires some more effort.
Right.
Okay. All right. And
So
that touches on your
Thinking
expansion.
about, like was suggesting kind of a master plan and sketch layout where things can go.
Yeah, we have a plan for Home of the Brave, and it actually calls for 3 smaller fields right there on board. That was the original intent.
Weather dependent.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But I don't think we have one for Symmes Park. Not that I've been able to find anyway. But we can always take a look at it and look at where we have space and measure it and see if it's feasible.
Mhm.
So, well, Bill and I can work on that.
And then just where you'd recommend box lacrosse to be relocated.
Okay.
Here, we also talked to the Masonic Lodge to see if they'd be willing to rent us the fields behind their facility.
I have not done that. I don't know how to get hold of them or who to contact. I don't know if it'd be worth our while to do that.
I guess I don't recognize what fields are there that are available.
There aren't
Isn't-
any,
isn't
it's
it?
all,
It's all wooded,
woods.
isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
you have
all
to
wooded.
clean
You'd
it.
have to go in and clean it all out.
Then I don't think they're gonna.
No,
Okay.
not at this.
I wasn't sure, I didn't know anybody from that place, so I don't know what the thought is or if they would want to do it.
Why don't we see what kind, we can talk to Lacrosse and see about the box, and then let's look at how much it would be to fix the drainage, if we can fix the drainage at Royal.
I remember when we bought Royal as an add-on to what the parcels were from Rossi, home of the Brea Park. And there was wetlands issues.
It is a
between-
wetland issue.
Between our water park and Royal Field.
Right.
There is,
We,
that's
once
a
upon a
wetland
time, we were
area.
talking about having an elevated walkway there that was, I mean, in April of the year is the only time the grounds were wet, I thought.
Yeah, we had to move it, I think, and redevelop it as a wetland. To
Yeah.
make up for other wetland that we were using, I think. when the park was
There's, you can
built.
buy some trades.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
all right.
I'm surprised we haven't heard of water issues with blocks of lacrosse before now. That's all.
I just know every year that box gets really dirty, and it's all from them playing in it while it's too wet, and then it splashes up on the
Okay.
sides and stuff.
That would be on the inside, the outside.
Right, but the outside gets bad too, with
Yes.
the mold and the green,
Right.
the algae that gets on it.
Okay.
And every now and again, I will reach out to them and say, hey, can you spray this down for us and clean it up?
Okay. You had another issue in here about parking at Mead. I know we've tried to do some other activities there. I will say that that park's being used now that we've paved it, or had it paved. And I think they did a nice job paving that. There are some cracks and so on in it, which if we crack seal it, stay on top of it, it's gonna last us a long time. But there's a lot more activity over there than there ever has been.
Ever has been, 80%, I
Yeah.
would say,
Yes.
easily. Yeah.
So,
everybody-
we're
I
all
like
set.
that, but I was over there one day when the sunflowers were all in bloom and so on, and all the local photographers were there taking pictures and so on in that parking lot. It's the only time I've ever seen 15 cars in it. Now, granted, if we want to do more activities and things there, maybe we need more parking. But isn't there enough space between the current parking lot and the shelter house?
Yeah, we can extend,
Yeah,
but people also need to realize that you can park at Royals and just cross the street and come in that way.
yeah.
I mean, there's different ways you can look at it.
Yes.
As we use the park more and develop it more, maybe we can get people accustomed to parking over there and walking over, because that's a nice entranceway too.
Yeah.
And, yeah, but if we need to extend the parking down the road.
I just want us to be, thinking about that as we're, working towards, getting more activities there, we're gonna need to plan, to make that a lot bigger.
And
Maybe we should have a sign at Mead that just says additional parking
That
off
will.
of Union Cemetery. Or some way that to kind of guide people there.
Okay.
So I have a couple things since we're talking about Mead. You were working on getting us numbers for the Mead house for like the structural part, weren't you?
Yep.
We-
I got a hold of a structural engineer that gave us a cost, but then that was just
That
to
was Kim
shore.
to assess it, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's just for him to do the plans.
Yes.
So that we can get a contractor in there to fix what he thinks. He thinks it's minimal, based on the other person's opinion. I mean, I guess everybody's gonna have their own opinion about how to, shore that up, but he didn't seem to think that it was gonna cost a whole lot of money to shore it up. So I gotta get another quote on that, and then, I also asked him to give us a quote on taking it up to that use group 4, so that we can do events for it. So he's working on that.
Yeah, and then we
Was
just
it
get in
there?
there and steam clean that sucker.
Did Bill have somebody look at the outdoor kitchen or something of rehabbing that?
Yeah, he looked at the outdoor kitchen too.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And I think he also looked at, the chapel down in Union Cemetery too. To see what to do with that.
Are we gonna advertise like a request for
Mhm.
proposal?
We can, yeah,
RFQ, start with that.
okay.
For what? No.
Just for an architect, engineer who specializes in historic structures.
That we would bring on retainer basically and use throughout the township?
No, just for the meat house,
Oh, okay.
just because of its age, its kind of unique challenges.
Probably having trouble finding somebody that wants to talk to us about it. It's why you only found one so far.
Well, it's very hard to
But if we
find.
publicly advertise.
Yeah, okay.
get it
Yeah,
out.
it's very hard to
I see
find
your
the,
point.
it's easy to find an architect, it's hard to find the architect with the structural engineer, like them two together,
Yeah,
so,
specialty.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the historic preservation on top of it, so.
Why don't you call Addison Clipson? They were the original architects and they consulted with us on rebuilding the log house. I know we talked with them on the Mead property when we were working with a group to try and get it on the National Register or something. Now, he's an architect, but he isn't gonna do the structural stuff, but maybe he knows others who do.
Okay,
So I'm just saying, use that as a resource and see if they can recommend somebody.
okay.
And while we're talking about the log cabin, I would like to set up a meeting with the Historical Society about the log cabin, if we
Okay.
can do that.
Yeah, the roof
Because I-
looks terrible.
The grass is like as high. I mean, it's like literally this high, so someone needs to come in and,
What grass?
well, it's weeds, but
Okay.
it's high. And, you know, I'm up there a lot, I know you're up there a lot. I have people ask me about it. And, you know, I explain it's the Historical Society that, you know, is in charge of that, but it's on our property. So if they need help, or if we need to come up with a plan, we need to do it, because there's broken windows and they've taped little Scotch tape and taped over it. And when, I know everyone loves that log cabin, and it's a beautiful log cabin, so they walk up and look in the windows. And when you look in the windows, I think you see the pots and the pans they use if they were like at Fall Fest. So, you know, when you look in the windows, you don't see like the traditional, what you would see in a log cabin. You just see like their storage.
Mhm.
So I would like to have them in, maybe see what we can do to help, or get it
Okay.
organized a little bit.
Get
Okay.
a list of what needs to be done and see how we can.
Yeah.
Do we have the copy of the agreement with them on that structure?
I'll have to look for it.
Yeah, it's
Right.
30-year renewal, I think.
You know,
I
and,
don't remember what all it says.
yeah,
Well,
and
They
we're
have to be
happy with,
long-term in
the
order
log
to get
cabin.
money from the state.
we're not,
So I think it was a 30-year
I just-
renewal.
right, I just want to make sure that we work together, you know.
Okay.
That's it. And so I might as well bring this up too, while we're talking about parks and need. The other day, something popped up on my news feed on my Instagram that I was looking at, and it's a synthetic ice rink. Has anybody ever seen those? You put them on tennis courts, or you could put it on a basketball court. So I looked at all the reviews, and the reviews say they're great. You can get a commercial grade, and we could put it in we could try it if you're interested. Like, you can put it down on, you know, the size of a tennis court. I think we got an estimate, because I asked Bill to look it up, is about $6,000. And I don't know if we could take it out of COVID money, but I thought it would be a fun thing, because nobody has anything to do. We're not going to have anything to do over the winter. If we would try to get people into the parks over the winter. And I thought, wow, a synthetic ice rink, we wouldn't have to worry about it. It doesn't have a lot of maintenance on it. And so if you guys want to research it or look at it and see what you think, I think that might be something fun for us to do for the township.
Well, with respect to social distancing, if it's still in vogue, in the wintertime, which we expect it will be. It'd be nice to do both courts because they're not gonna be playing tennis.
No, yeah, I think it would be nice maybe
And
to,
you get 2 locations. You got
Yeah, like
at
one at
Hopewell and
Hopewell.
one at Seven Gables.
yeah, I think Seven Gables would be a great spot. I think it would be nice to do. So why don't you, if you guys want to look at it
Okay.
and see what you think and read the reviews,
Okay.
and then maybe we can talk about it down the road. I've actually called the manufacturer and I have not received a call back, and I emailed them too.
Okay.
So I think that would be, and it snaps together, so it's really easy to store. And so, you know, we put it up in December, we take it down in March, or however you want to do it.
Isn't the one at Fountain Square not ice?
No, it's ice.
Huh?
It is ice.
It is ice, okay.
Yeah, they have to cool it. And they have to go out with a little Zamboni thing and clean it, so
So
it's a
you
lot
would
of maintenance.
have to do that. I mean,
Oh,
I
sure.
think maybe every once in a while you broom it off, but since it's not up permanently, it's not a lot of maintenance.
What kind of footwear does it require?
You wear ice skates. Wear ice skates. What, look at the reviews.
It is, you do wear ice skates. Huh.
Yes, you do. Google it, Joe. Commercial synthetic ice.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
I bet that might be fun for
Okay.
everybody. So I guess that, does anybody else have anything about the parks or anything? Oh, we might as well talk about, we're currently redoing the bird area in Symmes Park. So if you're out and about in the next month or so, it should be finished. So you can start bird watching. I would like to order, I don't know if you guys are interested in doing this. I would like to order, like, one, I don't know if we have any extra from the story walk, you know, the case thing, what is it that the story walk goes in?
The pedestals.
Those pedestals.
Pedestals. And then I would like to put in like what birds are native to like this area. So when you're sitting at the bird, you can look at it and say, oh, that's a cardinal, or that's a sparrow.
ODNR help you with that.
Do you know if we have any of extra ones?
We do not. We only ordered what we needed around the,
Were they expensive?
Let's go for another ODNR grant.
they were, I want to say the whole thing was like $9,000 for 20.
Oh, so we could,
$500 a piece.
Yeah.
they were $500 a piece? Wow, that's expensive for that. Okay.
Yeah, it is, especially when you had to replace the plexiglass the first time.
And I got showered. Now nobody touches them. That was an interesting time. So, I don't know. So I would like to order maybe one more so people can, bird watching has become very popular too.
You had blinds set up or something?
So what was happening, we opened it up more because we have to redo the benches. It started with like a full building, and then they took off the back side and then left this side up. So we actually took off this side. And so you can actually see what it is now. And so I think they had benches in McNeed House that they were gonna move. It was in the basement over to the birdhouse. So we can get that up and moving for everybody. So in the fall, they can watch the squirrels and the birds.
So where is it located again?
So when you're coming on the path and you're walking back to the dog run, it's right out, you have that open area.
Yeah,
It's right there.
behind the maintenance.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
it's funny. And I maybe do some signage so people know exactly what it is. Because when you're walking past it, you just saw this brown building and no one knows what it is. So maybe we need to do something to advertise it a little bit better in the parks.
Speaking of, which color do you want to paint it? They'll need to know color.
I know, I don't know. That's what I was saying. We have to paint the bridges too. And then we were talking, we also need to make sure that when we paint if we paint the bottom of the bridge, you add the sand so people don't slip. Because I know last year we had trouble people slipping on the bridges in the winter. So right now it's chocolate brown. I don't know.
It's like pressure treated lumber. is what it looks
Yeah.
like.
I just didn't know if you want to leave that color or you want us to paint it a different color.
Not pink.
Not pink.
Yes. Yeah.
What do other people paint their bird blinds? Do they paint them green, like to blend in with the trees, the grass? That's what I was kind of thinking out of my mind. What if we,
I don't know.
you know,
We can
paint a
probably amp it
camera or
up.
something like that, or you paint like a tree mural on it, you know, that looks like it's,
That would be fun to get up, have like the Loveland Art Club or Sycamore Art Club or Indian Hill. They could come paint that for a project. That would be kind of fun, actually. I would think. I don't know. So we can research that. So anything else about the parks? Oh, we might as well talk about what we're planning for October too, in case we have anybody watching us. So I think Luann and I are going to start tomorrow, and we're going to start working on decorating the trail at Mead. And we have someone, her name's Kim Hicks she runs a company called Rumors, and she's an interior decorating. She's making us 10 scarecrows out of PCP pipe so we can redress them every year if the clothes get shattered or ruined or whatever. And she's going to take the 10 scarecrows and put them at different locations through the trail. And then we're going to have a hay maze that Bill's going to put together. And we have some other fun little things that we're going to have. We found like tic-tac-toe out of sticks that and use pumpkins for them that we'll put out there. And you have, I can show you some pictures. So we're going to put some of our older Halloween decorations on the trail also. But it's going to be very family orientated, and it's going to be just a fun, you can come at your own. So it's nothing that you can social distance with and enjoy the trail. And then we'll have I think we have Room on the Broom, which is a Halloween story for the story walk. So,
Question,
yes,
all our cameras working in
they're going to put them
Mead
in.
now?
That's what we're going to do.
yes, the cameras at Mead work and they do the beat patterns throughout the property. But on the trail itself, we'll probably have to hang the deer cameras that we have from the trail cameras or whatever.
The only reason I bring that up is
Just to
because
make
we do
fun.
have vandalism
Yeah.
since we opened the storybook walk. And that's a little more remote area than it would be if we were to do the haunted trail, so to speak, at Symmes. So,
Yeah, we'll hang the.
And
we'll hang
that's
it
the
there.
synthetic ice. Yeah. Ken, I'm starting to see you up there a lot
where are you?
at Mead.
Where are you?
Well, sometimes after I get off work, I'll take Titus, my bigger dog, and we park at Mead, and then we cross the street and we walk through Symmes, Home of the Brave, Mead, and then come back to the parking lot. So I see your car there a lot.
Well, since I inherited dog walking duty from my daughter, she's working from home, I try and do a different park.
Every
About
day.
every day.
Good for you. Got to enjoy the parks. I think the one thing we've all learned from this whole terrible year that we've been experiencing is how important parks are.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's really made a difference, and I think in a lot of people's attitude and mental health and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing better than walking in the woods.
And the sidewalks too.
Mm-hmm.
Very well used.
Oh, that's right. Yes, absolutely.
We got.
All right, so are we moving on to financial policy changes?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so I have some suggestions for the finance policy that we adopted from 2018. the state law actually changed, I think it was last year, the end of last year, where now purchases went from 2,500 up to 10,000. So I was hoping that you all might be agreeable to raising ours to 5,000, not 10,000, but just 5,000. So.
So what you could spend without coming to the trustees, right?
Right. Yeah, but we'd still have to do purchase orders, so you would still see them. So what we're proposing is any purchases over $1,000 but under 5,000 have to be submitted to the PO process. So we'd still have to take out a PO, so then that would just leave us with anything under $1,000 that we
Okay.
wouldn't need to do a PO.
The only way we would be notifying the trustees of an expenditure greater than 2,500 was by cutting a PO that
By
that we
1,000,
would have to sign.
anything over 1,000. So all purchases over 1,000 but under 5,000 would be submitted to the PO process. So anything over 1,000 up you would still see. It just wouldn't have to come to a meeting.
I'm not hung up on the 5,000, I'm hung up on the notification, at least the trustees' cognizance of what this is going for.
Yep, you would see it every week. When you sit down to sign checks, you would see those POs every week.
Was this enough of an explanation?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
I'll put it in there.
Joe, what do you think of that?
What, increasing to 5?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're asking? I think it's a reasonable figure.
And you're comfortable with that?
Yeah, I am.
Well, if the state's changed to 10, the fact that we're dragging our feet going to that number is, I think, it's kind of the fiscal conservatives that we all think we are. You know? I don't have any problems with that.
I don't know.
Okay, I don't either.
So basically what we did is before how we were always filling out a form for any purchase, well, we've just kind of changed that to where anything under 1,000, we've not been filling out the form. So we've just been holding to that $1,000 number. So, you know, if you need to run to McGee lumber and you're only going to spend $30, there's no reason to fill out a form. I mean, it's just $30.
And you're
So-
putting it on the Visa statement, right? Because you're using a Visa?
No, we don't use the Visa for McKay because we have our own account there.
Okay.
Yeah. But it varies, you know, depending on, you know, where we're shopping. So some purchases might be a little bit more like, you know, Stigler, we might spend, you know, anywhere between $500 and $1,000 because it's supplies. So typically we tend to put in a pretty large order for supplies. So it's gonna be a little bit more expensive than $37 or whatever.
When Carol was here, I know that she always was upset about, we had problems with, I guess, submitting stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Because we had to fill out a piece of paper for every purchase we made, yeah.
Okay, but we're not having that problem anymore.
No, because we haven't been filling out the piece of paper, we've just been sticking to the $1,000. So anything over 1,000, that's when we spill it out.
So that solves that problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and we haven't had any problems with it at all.
So as long as we don't end up seeing from one week to another, finding numbers that add up beyond that would be my only concern.
Okay,
If you're cutting a blanket PO of $5,000 and so on, you stay below that, fine, as long as we know what it's for.
okay. Yep. Okay, let's see. So all purchases over 5,000 must be submitted to the purchase requisition process, and that's when you guys would approve it at a meeting, so anything over $5,000. And then the only other thing I thought to change was, I know Bill has the authority to spend up to 1,500, but I thought if we could reduce it back down to 1,000 and kind of make it in, to go along with that $1,000 to $5,000, you know, area that we've kind of defined. And then to let the, because the fire department's also been doing the same thing, anything under
Well, wait a
1,000.
minute, fire department right now, the last finance policy we had, we didn't give them authority. at all,
Right now they can spend, they've been doing up to $1,000 right now, so they've been doing, so like if they have to go best one tire to get a tire replaced, you know, it's like $100 for $300. You know, they can go ahead and take care of that and invest one just built. Well, it depends on the tire that they're replacing, the size of the tire. I mean, it's gonna vary. Like they have to go and buy spark plugs or, you know, it's the same kind of deal. I mean, the only thing they're really spending money on is just maintenance of our
Well,
fire
I
trucks.
just have kind of a legal hang up here. The fire chief, bless him, but he's not an employee of the township, he's a contractor. So I think that's why we took spending authority away. And that's why the fire chief would, or through the process would say, I need this, and he generally gets what he wants. But for him to have outright spending authority, I think we took it away because he's not an employee.
Right,
So-
I see your logic, but at the same time, it just holds up the process if they have to come, you know, they have to come back to us for everything. I mean, to me, it's like, it's under $1,000, it's not
What's
very.
then and now? I mean, if they need something right now, they go get it and we pass it through then and now, don't we?
But why do we have to do it then and now? We just take out a blanket purchase order.
Okay.
I mean, I can show you the things
No,
that
I
they.
expressed my concern only from the standpoint. that
Right,
the
I'm
fire
just
chief-
not really worried about it, because the things that they're buying is they're maintaining our fire truck. So if they have, I mean, obviously, there's not that many things that are gonna fall under the $1,000 category, because those things are so huge, and when you do have to get repairs on them, they typically cost, you know, $3,000 up to $10,000, sometimes $15,000, depending, you know, on what's broken on it. But I'm talking like batteries and tire replacement and, they have to buy mirrors or something like that. I mean, you're talking about such a small amount of money. It just seems, I don't know, I'm not really worried about it.
How do you guys feel?
It's not gonna affect the way, transparency. I wanna make sure that we're transparent to everything.
No, I mean, we submit everything, all the bills get paid, you guys see them every week. You're signing them now.
So it sounds like a lot of these smaller expenses are directed towards maintaining our own equipment.
Yes, for the most part. Yeah, and if it's cleaning supplies and things like that, Bill tends to buy that because we can get a cheaper price than they can because of our government account. Trying to think what else they do.
But anything that the fire chief would spend will still come out of their budget.
Oh, yeah, it still comes to us.
No, it comes out of our budget.
Yeah, it comes out of our budget,
Remember,
but it
we're only
comes to
paying
us.
him for labor.
Right, we pretty much pay for everything else.
And you will see everything he spends, and then we'll see it.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it goes through him, and then it goes to me, and then it goes to Joe, and then it goes to Al, and then it goes to you. So there's many, many, many eyes that,
Okay, I just wanna make sure that we're being
But I
transparent
guess
as
what I
possible.
meant was that he'll have labor, but he'll also have capital costs in his budget, at least his budget projections.
He
Right.
submits those capital costs to us for our approval.
Right. So
Right.
these small costs are a part of that bigger budget, right?
well, no, the smaller costs are not included in the capital cost. So it's really, I mean, we budget it every year, but he doesn't budget that for us. We do that. We kind of look back to see what we spent last year, and then we kind of budget the same amount depending on what it's for. But I can tell you exactly what we've spent it on. I mean, I can print out every single expense that we've had.
Okay. I guess that's what
So
I was
if
getting
it
at. I
makes
just
you
want to make
feel-
sure.
If it makes you feel more comfortable, I can print it out and I can show it to you.
that we could go over that sometime.
Okay.
But my point was, I just want to make sure we weren't losing sight.
I mean, we can word it a different way if you want to word it a different way. I just didn't know how else to word it.
Okay, I have a couple more questions.
Okay.
So I know when we were working with the government checkbook when Carol was here, are we doing that anymore?
We haven't, she didn't do it for 2019 before she left.
Okay,
So, and I don't know how to do it.
I'm
okay,
not sure that 2018 was fully reconciled between us and the state,
Okay.
which is why there was probably a lag in support for 2019. I think it's a good idea downstream, but look at all the other issues we have going on right now with the transition. That I can wait a little while for that,
Yeah,
but as long as it's on the horizon.
I'm not asking that, but my point that I was getting to is, I think we were talking about upgrading our websites to make sure that we could get everything on our website. So people could just go to our website and look at
You're talking about the size, server, all that
it.
kind of
Server
stuff.
size,
And we did, I have Luann contact Legend Webworks, and we increased our storage capacity size. And then, we also increased the number of links for the news feed on the front page to 10 from 3, so that people wouldn't have to hit the archive button all the time. We changed a couple wording on the department, like, where it says departments, news, calendar. We changed that to kind of, because people wanted to hit the meeting thing, and that's not where the information is. That's just a calendar of events. It doesn't really go into explanation about things. So we changed that.
we did a search.
Yeah, we did Ken's Google search bar or whatever, so then now you can type in, it's like we used to have on our
Road
website.
plan,
Yep.
and it'll pop right up.
So you can type it in and it'll come up.
Okay. Are we gonna be able to do the maps that we've had such controversy over? We had to go to the county website.
That I have not tackled, we've just been leaving it on the county's website for now. But I did get an updated copy of the 2009 land use plan and updated it. I had to go back to McBride Del Clary and get it.
How much capacity does it take
A lot.
relative to what we have now to accomplish that?
I can ask her how much it'll
I
take.
think it'd be a valuable piece of information.
Okay.
We're talking about upgrading our website, and if we don't go all the way, people are gonna ask why.
Right, and this is a good opportunity for us to do it because we
Yeah.
can use COVID money. Because this is a way that people don't have to come into the township to
Right.
get their information. So we can use COVID money, so we're trying to get as much done as we can. Like, we're looking at other websites. I mean, I think I like Green Townships. I think they did a really nice job with theirs. And so we're kind of comparing our website to different township websites to see if we're like average or better than average or not up to date. So, yeah.
Well, if you compared it to the state, we'd be way ahead.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I know that.
Yeah. So, because we want everyone, I know people expressed that they struggled a little bit with our website, so we want to make it a little more user-friendly.
That's good.
It didn't cost us much to upgrade it, so we just went ahead and upgraded it.
Yeah.
And took care of it,
Yeah.
just to push all the information as much as we could out. on the
I
website.
know, but there's that open-ended question out there, how much more would it take to do?
Yeah.
Instead of the counties screwing it up.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, under process for warrants, purchase orders, and blanket purchase orders, before the request had to be reviewed and approved by the department head and then submission of the form to the township or to the fiscal officer. I changed it to the township administrator because they've been coming to me, and then I'm the one that's usually been filling them out and signing them, and then I give them to Al to do for Joe, and then you guys see them at the end when you guys sign everything. Number 11, warrants for vendors shall be processed, and I crossed out typically during payroll weeks.
Number of what?
On the next page, you go to number 11.
I don't know, goes up to 8.
Mine does too.
If you go to process for warrants, purchase orders, and blanket purchase orders, it should be number 11.
Mine only goes up to 8.
Oh,
I made you a copy right there, so
Oh, well, you never upgraded mine.
it should be the same thing. I don't know why it's not, it's only going up to 8.
talking about the actual policy.
Okay.
But pretty much the way I reworded it was that warrants will be processed when they are received, but no later than every Friday.
Now I see.
Because that's what we've been doing now. We've been paying them every day. Right when we get them, we pay them either that day or the next day.
And have we been doing public late fees anymore?
The only people that we've had a problem with is the short turnaround ones, like the Super Fleet, Spectrum.
So can we move to a different, can we get rid of it?
Well,
Change
that's
vendors?
why we bought the fuel tanks, so that we wouldn't have to deal with Super Fleet anymore.
Good,
Next then. Because you literally have to call them every month and have them take the fees off.
okay.
Yeah.
Say, sorry, you're bad, poor business. I'm move to a different one.
Let's see, under credit card purchases, I crossed off Speedway. I still would like to have a card. I don't know if we can do a shell card of some sort, or we can do PDF, with whatever it is, but just so we have some ability in case we need to buy fuel outside and we can't get to our tanks. And then under
Could you just
50,
use the regular Visa for that? Why does
we
it-
could, yeah, if you guys will allow us to carry it. Like if Bill and I are out, we can carry it, then it would be okay to do it that way. But then you lose your fleet discount, that's the only downside to that, but.
Okay,
With Fifth Third, they can give us, it's like a $50,000 credit line through Fifth Third. And then the way Fifth Third does their credit cards, we can have as many as we want, but what I'm used to is having each department head has a credit card. And then, so that would be a card for me and a card for Bill, and then we can put a third card in the safe to have for extra use in case we need it, like around the office or somebody goes out of town or whatever it is. And then we keep our Staples card.
And then the sheriffs will just use the tanks.
Yes. Yeah, so then we wouldn't need to maintain a card in every single one of the vehicles, that they would just have we're looking into different systems to use, whether it's a card or a punch thing, or they could just do what we do now. Right now we keep it on the clipboard and we just kind of write down who uses what. We'll probably, hopefully we'll have something more sophisticated than just that, but we're trying to keep the cost down.
Yeah, like the county, before you can put gas, you have to put the mileage in, and then you each have your own code.
Yep. And is there any questions on that?
no,
Under pay periods, extra pay and reimbursements, pay period schedule should be determined by and we have fiscal officer, I just put payroll administrator, township administrator, whoever is doing payroll at the time. Right now it's me, but in a year from now, it could be somebody else out, if we decide to go away from payroll and we can go back to doing it ourselves, it could be whoever's in charge of payroll.
but generally every 2 weeks.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy. I mean, it's gonna be every Monday that you turn the timesheet in, and Wednesday is payroll. The only time that you need to change it, and for a perfect example, when we had a holiday, was it right before Labor Day? Yeah, it was right before Labor Day. Obviously, we can't process payroll on Labor Day, because that's a Monday. So we had to process it on the Friday before Labor Day to get the payroll in by Wednesday. So in that instance, we had to move the date up.
Okay.
So that doesn't happen very often, but every now and then it does. And then I just put in here at the end, for all payroll shall be distributed by direct deposit through Paycor to all the employees, for any volunteer committee members every week, blah, blah, blah. And I just put in here, or as determined by the board of trustees. So you guys have the authority to decide, when people get paid or how they get paid. Let's see, forms of payment, we would like to go back to taking cash, if you guys are okay with that. We have a lot of people that, I don't know, they just don't seem to have bank accounts, or like checks, like people don't buy checks or order checks.
I was
So
thinking,
people come in here with cash and then they have to go down the street to get a money order or whatever and come back, so they get.
so they don't have visas?
They don't want to use their credit card, so they just would rather just pay us cash.
Oh, because I was thinking that it would be a neat thing to do on the website where they can just reserve the shelter via the website.
Yeah, it would be nice to do that too.
I was thinking that would save, Jana the trouble, and it would be simple. Do you think we could add that to the website?
Yeah, we could ask them if they have that
It
ability.
still requires verification by an employee that they are resident or non-resident or.
Yeah, I think that's our biggest hang up when people come in, because a lot of people don't know that they're not a resident. They think they are, but they're not. So that tends to be our biggest hang up, is when you do the address verification.
Oh, they couldn't just put their address in the computer when they,
Well, they can put any address in the computer, so that's the
Yeah.
thing. You got, and so you gotta make sure that, it's a 5-digit address versus a 3-digit address. That's a dead giveaway right there.
I know some of the other townships, that's how they do it. So I was wondering, maybe we should look and see how they do it. Do they not do it by resident versus non-resident? Because I know we talked about that in the past, but, and I don't know if we're willing to go there. I'm not saying that's something that, but I'm just saying there a lot of townships use that.
Okay. Green Township has it, I guess.
I think in Anderson uses it. I think there's a lot of townships that you can reserve the park online,
Okay.
a shelter.
All right, we'll look at that. So I would like to go back to accepting cash, and then obviously the state requires us to deposit everything within 3 days, so I put that in there.
And you'll have a policy on how the money's handled.
Yep, right now we put it in the box. We have like a little cash box, so it's right on the wall.
So if Jana or Luann took it,
Right, it goes in the
it
box.
goes straight to the box.
Yep.
Okay. And the box is always open and available for them, because I know sometimes last time when Carol was here, they couldn't get into the safe to put the money there.
There's another difference now too, that is the fiscal officer and the township staff is in the same location.
Same
Yeah,
building,
so
So
that's all.
that eases a lot of issues about coming across the street.
Right, you're right.
Yeah, and then we do all the deposits, so Jana takes the money to the bank every other day or whatever it was, or whenever we get it. So we've been waiting in that line if they're at PNC, every other day. It takes us about an hour to deposit money, because they didn't have their lobby.
Until you
open.
move accounts.
Well, they didn't have their lobby open, so it was forcing everybody to use the drive-through. Like, you'd sit in the drive-through for an hour.
You couldn't use the machine?
You can't scan the checks. or
Checks?
anything.
Now with Fifth Third, we'll be able to scan the checks at our desk.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have one of those scanners, and then we can just run the checks through the scanner and it'll go right to our account. And we won't have to go to the bank, except when we have cash, then obviously we have to go to the bank. So, let's see, I took out the separate checking account for the processing of debit and credit cards. I don't see the need to have a separate account. If we have money going in or money coming back out, I mean, it really should all just be one account that we have to reconcile. We don't really take the credit card that many times, so I don't see it as a huge issue.
Joe, is that okay with you?
Yes, I don't see any sense in having it separate. As long as you keep accurate records, you don't need a separate bank account for it.
If you're uncomfortable with anything, just chime in here, okay? You're sitting there awful quiet.
I didn't hear what you said.
She said you're being all quiet.
I'm listening.
Okay, I think that's it. I think that was all my changes.
Hey, Joe, did you have that list again that you told me the other day, because I didn't write it down?
Do I have what?
You know that list you called me out, you said there was like 2 or 3 things, I forgot to write them down, and I didn't know if you had that handy with you or not.
My connection is bad or my hearing aids are bad tonight. I cannot understand what you're saying.
I'll just call you.
Okay, that'll work.
I think that's it on that. If anybody has any questions. Okay. And then under I added one more thing to the agenda, under the copier purchase. We were looking and hoping that we could upgrade our computer for the copier this year. I know we had planned to do it for next year, but we're running into some issues with it, and I was hoping that we could upgrade it. We got a purchase price of, if you do a 60 or a 50 page per minute, the price is $7,852. If you lease it, it's $165 a month. And then the 6071, that does 60 pages per minute. That's $93.87 or $197 lease per month. And I did the math, so if we purchase it, the 50. Oh yeah. We can purchase the new Sharp for $7,852 or lease it for $165 a month. If we lease it for a 5-year period, it ends up being $9,900. If you do the 60 page per month, it's $93.87, or if you lease it for the $197 per month for a 5-year period, it would be $11,820. So the biggest thing that we noticed with the savings is on the maintenance agreement. So currently, we spend around $810 per quarter. So with the new copier, that per quarter charge drops to $520. So it's a 36% savings that we would have just because the copies, the old copier isn't as efficient as a new copier. So you can see with this operational cost analysis that David did for us, you can see what we're spending now and what we would spend in a year. So you can see like we typically spend about $3,250, and that would drop to about $2,100 a year just in copies alone. The other advantage to this new machine is that anything that we scan then becomes a compact PDF, and it'll send it just like that, and we don't have to sit and wait.
And the only difference between the two machines under consideration is 50 to 60 pages per minute.
Right.
Why do we need 60? Is it good enough?
I can't really think of a reason off the top of my head why we would need 60 versus the 50,
Okay.
unless you just want to be that, done that much quicker. It's not imperative that we have to have it, but.
And I know in the past, we've had some complaints about public records.
Yeah.
Not being, I guess, colored or.
Right.
And so this would take care of that problem.
This would take care of the problem. With this copier that we have now, when you scan a color copy, what happens is it kind of blows it up, so kind of like when you drop water in something and it expands. That's exactly what it's doing on the copier. If you put a color copy in there and it doesn't send it compactly, it expands it and then it takes forever for it to send. So, and we did a test when the Millennium was here. They sent a color copy that never came through to Luann's copier because we were trying to scan plans for Symmes Elementary to put it on the website, and it wouldn't send, and then I don't know where it went. It just didn't send. So then we had to break it down into multiple pieces to send it so that she could post it on the website.
Now, can we take this out of COVID money since?
I don't think so. I've tried every
Trying to
way. I know, but I just don't think a copier would qualify.
Okay.
So.
Can I say something? I've been there long enough that I see what a workhorse that machine is. It runs sometimes all day. The fact that Bill needs one that does color at the same time, because we can move this old one over to Bill's and get rid of the old one he has. But this to me is a no-brainer. It pays for itself simply on what you save per copy cost. On the lower price one, the $7,800 one, what we save on copy costs pay for that machine in 3.7 years. So to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's going to pay for itself and then some.
Would this come out of general fund, or where would it come out?
General fund.
Joe, you're saying that the cheaper one, the 50 page per minute on a purchase will pay for itself in 3.7 years?
Yes, and on the other one, it'll pay for itself in 4.5 years.
Okay.
And the machine we have now, we've had, I think, for 5 years. And we think it was 2 years old when we bought it. It was a used machine when we bought it. So that machine is 7 years into being a workhorse. And, you know, if we can pay for a new machine that does much more, much faster, and doesn't jam up all the time the way this one does, I think it's a no-brainer. It just depends on which you want to go with, 50 or the 60 page per minute machine. But like I say, it pays for itself. When it pays for itself, I don't think you can argue with whether or not it's feasible to do it.
Okay. There's 2 steps in this process. One is purchase of a new one, and the other one is transferring the current one to Bill. Now, if we're having as much problem with this one, is that a good move to transfer it to Bill, or should he have something different?
I think it'll be fine for his volume. He doesn't have the high volume that we do, and I think that's what's, you know, our problem.
And
Is
we
we're
would
not
adjust,
writing-
and we would adjust the contract
Right,
copy numbers and so on to
right,
fit his
right.
needs.
It isn't-
Okay. And that one we do own.
Yes,
Okay.
we own both of them, so then we would just trash the other one pretty much.
Recycle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
recycle
I'm-
for sure. Oh, yeah.
I guess
Sorry,
my feeling is being the cheapskate that I am, I'd like to go with the 50 page per minute.
I knew you were going to say that.
Let it pay for itself in 3.7 years.
Right, right.
But recall now, if we do that, we own it. So what kind of maintenance costs might, even though it pays for itself in 3.7 years, what kind of maintenance experience have we had on the machines that we previously owned?
Well, like I said, you can see that the maintenance cost that we have now, it is $800 per quarter. And that's the color copies, the copies, and the maintenance on the copy. And we never pay for maintenance, we pay for through this maintenance contract that we have.
Okay.
It's all included. So that would drop from $810 down to the $500.
Okay, but that's 500 per quarter in addition to the purchase price.
Yes, right.
Okay.
But that's all, it's all everything. It's the color copies, the black and white copies, and any type of maintenance that would ever be required on it. So that's the toner, all that.
So it's gonna cost us like $500 a month.
If Bill had a high volume job out of the blue, he could always come over here.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm alarmed about the scanning issue. We need to get that fixed up.
Yep. It would definitely help us because we tend to scan a lot of stuff and send it, so especially public records. And that's why we were hoping to push everything, like scan it and push it out on the website. But we've been having an issue with the scanner.
And will it help updating the website? I mean, because I know.
Yeah, this will send it right away. I mean, we won't have to wait with this compact PDF feature now that it does. It will be able to send, it'll even be able to send color maps because it reduces the size when it sends it and it won't get jammed. Because right now, I think what happens is, and every place is different, but when you have incoming email, like if there's a barrier that's set by our IT people and it's usually like 10 megs. So anything above 10 megs, it automatically rejects it and won't send it. So I think that's what's happening on the copier, is the copier is sending it and it's rejecting it because it's over the 10 megs.
We're limited in the 10 meg as to what we can send in
Right.
one installment, so you have to break it up.
Yep,
Okay. And
Yep.
we won't have that with this new copy?
no, because it sends it as a compact PDF and they suggested that we change it instead of sending it in an email, that we set up folders on everybody's computer screens. And then you scan and you send it to the folder and then you're not jamming your email system.
That's a good idea too.
You said the word compact PDF. Does everyone have Adobe software that will open that compact PDF?
And he didn't seem to think that would be a problem. He was just saying when it sends it.
Am I gonna have any problem opening a compact
Well, you have
PDF?
problems with everything, so I don't know.
That's probably true. But,
Hopefully not, but if it's so, then we'll just bring it back down and see if we can, you know, when a problem arises, we'll just have to fix it.
I mean, I open PDFs all the time, but compact PDF is kind of a new term.
I think it's only when it sends, but when it lands in your email, you can open it just like you would any other file.
Are we restricted right now by our computer system into how large of a file we can receive?
Yeah, but you can't receive anything over 10 days.
We can't receive anything.
Nope, and you can't send
And this is
anything
to
over
solve that.
I know sometimes, this is a change subject, but on our iPads, I know the IT sometimes works updates. I know we get updates on our iPad, but sometimes they need to do it. Do we need to do anything now? I mean, do you ask IT? I mean, because these are what, 2 or 3 years old?
Yeah.
Does anything need to be updated on?
Actually,
Well,
it's
you can
probably
up-
older than that.
Yeah, I know. It, you know, it says you can
17.
have an update, but
That's
sometimes if you bring it into your IT, they clean it up.
Oh,
and do
I
what they-
gotcha. Well, I can, if you guys want to drop them off, I can always like take them down there and drop them off. I'm gonna do that.
Because they are. getting-
Sometimes it tells you that it's gonna update your software overnight, but it has to be plugged in to do that.
It does, and it has to be open to Wi-Fi, like it has the Wi-Fi has to be on and plugged in and unlocked or whatever. Yeah,
Right.
mine does the same thing in my house.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what do we need to do with the email system to be able to send or receive large?
We would
amounts
have to
of-
have them open it up to be larger, but I think 10 is the standard. Because I know I've had this at another place. It was set at 10 megs.
I just got a 27 meg file this morning.
From me or
No,
from someone else?
Just something I was doing.
Okay,
during my day job.
maybe the county has a bigger, you know, receipt coming in and receipt going out.
I'm assuming that costs.
So that's gonna be interesting
It
if we're not,
should, but
if we're not limited in the scanning. And let's say you scan something that turns out to be 20 meg, and you send it to us and we can't receive something over 10. Right away, we got a problem.
now I'll ask them that.
Okay.
Good question.
When we're looking at server capacity and so on, for this other issue, the county maps and so on, that we can't put on ours, maybe that's a question that goes hand in glove with it is the size of the files that can be transmitted in and out. You didn't have any trouble receiving your 27 meg?
No.
Okay.
I don't know what the limit is for my day job account, but it's the point is you just don't know. I mean, if someone's going to send you something, you want to make sure you receive it.
Right.
Or if you need to get something out, you don't have to break it down.
Generally speaking, the sender will get a kickback saying undeliverable or something that
And then they give up.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless they're persistent. Yeah, that's a good question to ask. All right.
Okay, that's all I got.
We don't take action in the work session, but I guess
No,
you try and read the tea leaves here, and I think we're leaning towards the 5071 purchase.
Okay.
So if you come back in open session with a resolution or something to purchase.
October 6th.
Is that the safety center, right?
Yep.
Okay. Enjoy the weather, Joe.
Rain, rain, rain.
Cold here.
Tomorrow's supposed to be good.
Good.
Might actually get to golf tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, anything
Thank you.
else? All right, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Yep.
Ms. Lace. Aye. Mr. Beck.
Aye.
Mr. Bernie.
Aye.